Welcome back to the Out of Bounds podcast. I am Charlie Caleri alongside
Gavin Williams.
And welcome to Season 3.
Season numero tres.
I mean, who would have thought we would have been here?
Hey, everybody's
I
playing.
would have.
I would have.
I would have.
Hey, I mean, just a couple of college kids getting it done, getting to working.
Mm-hmm. And season 3 is going to be a good one.
Yeah, Season 2 was good. It was fun. It was
good.
Great.
It was good.
But this one's going to be even better.
We're stepping it up this semester. We're going to have a lot. We anticipate having more time on our hands.
We do have more time
to put a little bit more time into the podcast and make it what we want to make it.
Exactly.
So
let's get this growing. Charlie got a new water bottle, everybody.
I did. That's big. That is
big
big. Shout out to Ella for that one. Thank you.
Shout out Ella.
Thank you for that.
It's a really clean, nice Gatorade water bottle.
Black and orange Gatorade bottle. We're not sponsored by Gatorade, so.
But if they would like to
reach out,
business inquiries, text my number.
Our Instagram is at Out of Bounds Podcast with a dot in between each word. But the NFL playoffs started last week, the wild card round, and what a round of games! I mean,
not gonna lie, we had one great game, but the rest were.
Honestly, we had a few good halves.
Yes.
Like the first half of the Browns-Texans game was really good. The first half of that Lions-Rams game was maybe one of the best halves of football I've seen.
Game of the whole
agree.
Playoff weekend.
We'll get into that in a little bit. Obviously, we're going to touch on all 6 games from last weekend and the 4 for the upcoming weekend for the divisional, and we're excited for that too. But
especially because both of our teams are in it. So
that is true. Who would have thought? Who would have thought?
Charlie, if you told me at the very beginning of this year that the Packers and the Bills would both be in the divisional round in January, I would.
And the paths that we took to get there.
Yeah.
I mean,
crazy pass.
Good for us, man.
Come on.
Boom. And actually, I just want to touch on this before we get into this episode fully. I'm not usually one to brag.
Yeah.
But let me just say this: over break, one of the best moments of my life happened.
I want to hear it.
One of my teams won something for the first time ever. For the first time ever, one of my teams actually won something. Michigan football won the national championship, and I said it from day one that we were going to do it. And I believed. I never wavered on the team.
Nope.
Never wavered on the team. I watched every game, supported every. This is actually the first year I watched every game fully.
Yeah.
So
top to bottom.
Top to bottom. So I mean, the last few years I've been obviously watching the big games, but this year I really decided to dive deep into it, and it was a great year to do it. So Team 144, we did it, and maybe
team
we could.
What?
Team 144.
Is it like the 144th team or something? Okay.
Yeah. So they did it, and see if we can run it back next year. But we lost a lot of guys, but
especially
who could
Jim Harbaugh could be gone.
Yeah, we could lose our coach, but honestly, I want that personally.
Yeah,
I want Sharon Moore to be our head coach.
They loved him.
I would love that. I would love that personally, and the players love him too. Yeah. And obviously, when we get into the NFL draft stuff in just a few short months, even a month, we'll talk about a lot of those Michigan guys because a lot of them will be going to a lot of teams that will be in these spots right here that we'll be talking about today. So getting
especially
into the
defense, how deep it was.
That is right. Yeah. I mean, with guys like Sandstrom, Colson, Graham going to the draft, I mean, a lot of guys from all different positions for Michigan.
Kind of remind me like a Georgia national champion where everybody's going to get drafted.
Yeah, kind of. And then you got to run it back the next year and not as good. So, I mean, with 12-team playoff next year, I think we'll be in the playoff, but I don't think we'll have much success. But
hey, I mean, you got it.
We got it. I mean, that's all I needed. I mean,
hey, I want to congratulate you.
Thank you. I coming from a Michigan State fan, that means a lot.
Yeah.
It does mean a lot. I mean, I got messages from Ian Kennedy, Maryland fan. Mostly all of our friends sent me a message. That was good to see that supporting the boys.
I texted him before the game like, "Hey Charles, good luck with this one."
And
especially
honestly,
that Alabama game.
Honestly, I mean, I said this to one of my friends, Cam Dixon, who also has a podcast,
the
Buffalo Take, and I was talking to him about. I was saying the Alabama game. I was, the pit of nervousness you feel in your stomach before a game.
Yep.
I only felt that before the Alabama game. And the whole day before the Washington game, I was sitting there like, why am I not nervous right now? And I think just in the back of my head, I knew we had it.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to actually say it out loud. But after we got that 4th down stop at Alabama, I kind of felt it for the whole next 6 days, 5 days, however long it was, and here we are. What a ride! What a ride!
That was a great ride for you.
But what a ride to the end of this NFL season. Let's kick it off with Browns-Texans to start off the wild card round. And Gavin, what'd you think of this game?
There's a young man who is rising to every single potential that he's ever been heard of His name is CJ freaking Stroud. And
he's a beast.
Wow. I just want to point this out. Our CFO, Mr. Scott Williams.
Shout out.
Before the Colts game, my dad's like, yeah, this kid's, he's good. I don't think he's that good, but I think he's pretty decent. I'm like, Dad, like, this kid's good. Just watch out. And here he is. 16 for 21. Didn't even need to pass the ball that much. He had 274 yards and 3 touchdowns. I mean, this kid can just...
He's efficient. He's just efficient. He's a great NFL quarterback. Simple as that.
He's just the most exciting player to watch on that team every single week. Or one of the most exciting players to watch in the whole league every single week.
I mean, I think if you're naming guys in the playoffs right now from the 8 teams that are left, I mean, he's definitely got to be one of the top guys that you're saying, he's must-watch football every single week that he steps on that field. I mean, him, I would say Lamar. I think maybe it's a biased take, but I think Josh Allen, too, is in that discussion.
Especially last night, but we'll get into that later.
We'll get into that a little bit, but, yeah, I mean, I think C.J. Stroud, he's poised to turn this Texans franchise into what they wanted to turn it into with Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I think we got a better guy doing it at quarterback for them and some more likable characters around him.
Yeah.
I mean, with Deshaun, you had a little bit of an older team with D-Hop, J.J. Watt, all those guys. But
everybody's young.
You got this young core right here, all guys that are new to the city, the team, the organization. So they weren't even there a few years ago.
They weren't.
But, I mean, now you got
thinking about it.
You got guys like Nico Collins stepping up.
I was going to bring up his name next.
My guy, Michigan alum.
Yeah,
Michigan alum.
That's his number one guy right there.
I mean, this is crazy to think that they don't even have Tank Dell right now.
I know.
Tank Dell's out, and they're in the divisional.
And he's a dog.
And they're a young team. This is their first time in the playoffs with this team. Who knows? I mean, we saw it with the Jags last year. It was the same kind of situation. Young team, make it to the divisional. Then kind of it's like, all right, whatever. But I feel like there's something different about this Texans team.
There's something way different.
D'Amico Ryans, I mean.
He's a great coach.
Great coach. First year.
I think now he deserves Coach of the Year.
I would agree.
If it wasn't him, I'd want Stefanski. If it wasn't either one of those guys, I think it's rigged. But that's
You're not going to throw your coach in there?
Matt LaFleur, I mean, I feel like there was still 2 or 3 more games that he could have won to win that.
Like the Atlanta game?
The Atlanta game. That's the one game I think about.
That was at home, right?
Yep.
Or
no, that was away. That was away.
It was in Atlanta, but nonetheless, yeah, that was looking back, that was almost a really rough game for you guys to lose. That was the game that Jordan Love, I think, fell over for no reason.
He did.
And we all thought he was a bad quarterback, and he is proving us wrong.
We're going to get into
We'll also get into that a little bit. But on the Browns side now, sticking with this game, our guy Joe Flacco, he showed his age a little bit in this game.
His tier kind of.
Yeah.
I think he might be down to a tier 2 now.
He might. In the
C.J.
official.
Stroud's still tier 1, by the way.
I think he did move up to tier 1 over
He's
Brig.
a tier 1.
Yeah, so, I mean, Joe Flacco in this game, he had to throw the ball 46 times. And I honestly don't think his arm could have handled a 47th throw. 307 yards, 1 touchdown, and those 2 costly picks, which turned out to be pick sixes. Back-to-back drives, by the way. That just killed the game. I mean, it was a very close game before that. I mean, it was 24 to 14 at half. Browns got the ball to start the half, I believe. The Texans got the ball. They punted it right away. But Browns had the ball, chance to go down by 3, threw a pick 6. You're like, okay, they score on this drive, get right back into it. They throw another pick 6. That was kind of the game.
Back to back.
Kind of the game.
It's tough. I mean,
they didn't score a point in the second half.
Especially, like, what a story. From couch to playoffs. I mean,
yeah.
You hate to see a Cinderella
story from this Browns team in general. I mean, the amount of
injuries.
They were the first team to go into a playoff game with a different quarterback, running back, left tackle, and right tackle than from week 1. First team ever to do that. So impressive with them doing that. With 2, I mean, their tackles are both all-pro tackles too. So missing those 2 and having the depth to continue their success with guys like Jerome Ford, David Njoku showing up when Flacco showed up, and I don't know. I mean, this Browns team.
I feel for them though.
I do. I
love Cinderella stories. I hate when they come to an end.
It really doesn't feel like this Browns team will get back for whatever reason. I don't know.
This might have been a one and done year.
It really would have. And this game would have been great if Deshaun was playing in it.
Oh yeah, I mean like the
return to Houston would have been great. But I mean, I'm glad we saw Flacco at least get a chance to see him in another playoff game because it's probably gonna be his last one.
This is Joe Flacco's first ever one and done in the playoffs in his whole career.
Which is, I mean, unreal that it took until he was on a team for half a season to do that.
Yeah.
So shout out to Joe Flacco and the season that he had. and he was 1 win away from going back to Baltimore.
I know,
and playing in
right?
that
would have been
great.
crazy.
But I'm looking forward to Houston moving on to Baltimore, who didn't play last week, obviously with them being the 1 seed.
Yep.
But
You got the first round bye.
good for Houston getting that win, turning that franchise around. And
They might be my NFC South favorite for years to come.
And let me just say this: I had them bottom 3 in the AFC.
I did too.
We released our power rankings, revised power rankings now on our Instagram.
It was a pretty rough year for us.
It was a really rough pick. I mean, I think we only had collectively like 1 pick right.
I think
we flipped a lot of things,
did.
like Chargers and Jets were flipped for a lot of us because of injuries and stuff like that, and we did not believe in the Colts or the Texans or Titans at all.
I think my biggest thing with the Texans was I thought that this was going to be how the Panthers were. I thought the Texans were going to have a similar season, but
I mean,
I'm glad I was
it was
wrong.
all how you saw it. We all thought Bryce Young was going to be the guy. Turned out to be C.J. Stroud. So.
I'm really happy for the kid.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I'm not an Ohio State
but
fan,
now
obviously,
that he's out
but
of Ohio
now
State,
that he's
though,
out of Ohio State, I
you
mean,
root for
and
him.
he can connect with the Michigan men like Nico Collins. I mean, just my respect goes for him. And a guy like Devin Singletary, who I still root for, former Bill, I mean, good to see his career turn around too. So this Texans team is a very likable team.
Very.
Even their guys on defense, I mean, Will Anderson, he was getting the crowd hyped up the other day. But this team, man, I don't know. Something about them.
Yeah.
Something about them, man.
I also do want to point out one more thing about the Houston Texans, that since their initiation in 2002, they officially have more playoff wins than the Dallas Cowboys.
They are Texas's team. And they tweeted that, actually.
That's awesome.
They did. They tweeted that after the Packers beat the Cowboys. So they let it sink in for a full day and then waited for the other Texas team to lose. So good for the Houston Texans.
They have more than the Cowboys can win in 22 years. You know,
it's impressive.
That's great.
It is
great for this Texans team.
Moving on to a highly anticipated game, but we kind of knew what it was going to be before. Dolphins at Chiefs.
Yeah, some record-setting low temperatures here. I mean, it was a negative 24.
Arrowhead gets cold. I mean, that area, it's so flat there that, I mean, you're getting everything.
That wind
stadium.
chill. People's beers were freezing.
Andy Reid's mustache was freezing.
Yeah, I felt bad for those people who spent probably $15 on a single beer to have it frozen.
I mean,
you
got to expect it, though.
You got to expect it, but hey, I guess they just weren't chugging them fast enough, right?
No, not at all. Not at all. But this game, I mean, we kind of knew what was going to happen, but we all didn't really want to accept it because we wanted it to be such a good, close game, high-scoring game, but
we want to see Tyreek return to Kansas City be a special one, but it wasn't.
Turned out to be 26-7 in favor of the Kansas City Chiefs, sending home those frauds.
Yeah,
down
they've
south
been frauds all
in
year.
South Beach.
I'm kind of happy that they're out because I was kind of done with being the fraud. I mean, honestly,
I'm
think
just
the Chiefs could be frauds too. But I think there's two kind of fraudulent teams going against each other. But
I think this is just a weird year. I don't really want to call the Chiefs frauds, but the fact that because they can actually beat good teams,
no, they can,
and I'll give them credit for that. But the Dolphins, I mean, I just didn't like how their fans. First of all, my dad. Shout out to our executive producer, our EP, Frank Leary. He was down in Buffalo or in Miami for the Buffalo-Miami game down there for Week 18, and those fans were not good.
Not good to him?
Not good to him.
Really?
Not good to Buffalo fans.
A Buffalo fan was
unfortunately shot and killed that night.
That's horrible.
Dolphins fans, you need to
chill.
Get some grip on life. It's not everything.
It's a
damn
not
everything.
Game.
I mean, after the game, my dad was respectful of all the fans during the game, even though they weren't to him, as Buffalo people usually are, and
as our EP is.
Most normal people
he's
are.
He's our guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's one of the greatest guys.
And so after the game, Bills beat him. Close game. It was a good game. Great game.
It was a good game.
Great game. But at the end of the game, he goes to shake everybody's hand. The one guy who was respectful, who was a Dolphins fan, said, "Oh, good luck in the next round," or against the Steelers. And my dad said, "Oh, good luck in Kansas City," right? As you would say to somebody who just said thank you to you.
Yep.
And then this dude comes running up from behind the other guy and says, "What is that supposed to mean?" And my dad goes, "You guys are playing in Kansas City. What do you think it means?" And he just acted like it was such a offensive thing that he said, "Good luck in Kansas City." I don't know what the deal is with those fans.
I thought you were gonna say someone splashed a beer in his face or something like that.
No, but my dad said he was running up like he was gonna the guy had to hold the other guy back.
Really?
He said, "Yeah."
Wow.
So
Frank the Tank getting on his running shoes for this game.
Yeah,
I guess. Wow.
Yeah.
Electric.
So, I'm glad they're gone. If I had to pick one of these teams to be gone, I probably would have picked the Dolphins.
I mean,
honestly.
that's your rival.
It is. I
Makes
mean,
sense.
we're rivals with both these teams, but at the same time, I mean, we know we have an opportunity this week to play Mahomes in Buffalo. So
For the
we
first
all
time
wanted
with
that.
fans.
We were all rooting actually for the Chiefs.
Yeah, you want to see what
on
can
Saturday
happen,
night.
You know?
Yeah. So anyway, with this game, 26-7 in favor of the Chiefs. And let's just say Rashee Rice and Patrick Mahomes have a special connection.
Great connection.
I mean, that could be the next great connection for the Chiefs and the Chiefs fans.
I hope it is. I think Rashee Rice was supposed to be I was pretty high on him to start the season. Didn't really perform as much as I thought he was going to, but I just feel like the trust didn't really build, but I feel like the trust is there now.
It's there now. I mean,
So-
it's all it takes. I mean, if you can have it in the playoffs,
Yeah.
there you go.
Hey,
Look at the Packers.
come on now.
Yeah.
Dontavian Wicks.
Dontavian Wicks and
into him in
Jordan
a little
Love.
bit.
What a
We'll
what
get
a
into
combo.
we'll get into those boys in a little bit.
Even Isaiah Pacheco. I mean, we've been talking about him all year, hyping him up.
So good.
Such a hard runner. I mean, we
So
both
good.
love how he runs.
He's in
and-
my. I'm just gonna say this right now. If we had a tier of running backs, 100% he'd be a tier 1 for me.
I think so too.
100%.
I mean, there's a lot of likable players on the Chiefs team. I mean, Mahomes might be one of the only ones that I don't like.
I like I said in that one episode after the Bills game, I have zero respect for Patrick Mahomes. It's staying right now. He has a lot to make up in my mind, but yeah.
And it doesn't
Except
help
for
that he's on
Mahomes.
every other commercial either. I mean, you see his face everywhere.
I miss just seeing A-Rod on State Farm. I don't want to see him on State Farm.
I miss it when it was
Discount
both of
double
them.
check,
I miss
come
when it was both of them.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like that they brought Kelsey in. I mean, that's a whole
No,
other,
yeah, like
a whole other
Ma'auto.
thing.
What is that? What's
Yeah.
Ma'auto? Are
Ma'auto.
you kidding me?
Come on. Anyway, Jason Kelsey retiring today.
That broke my heart.
We'll also get into that a
Absolutely.
little bit. But Dolphins here.
I just want to point something out. Oh wait, no, I'll just wait till the Eagles.
Yeah,
game,
yeah.
say.
We'll
Sorry.
talk about the Eagles in a little
Forgot
bit.
they were
But
in the playoffs in the first place.
the Dolphins only scoring 7 points in
Yeah,
this game
2,
on
man.
essentially a fluke play.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It was a 53-yard pass to Tyreek Hill, and Tyreek did all of the work.
all the work. That was a Mahomes. Not Mahomes. That was the mindset was, F it.
Yep.
Tyreek's out there somewhere.
Tua had 20 completions in this game for 199 yards.
Didn't even crack 200.
That play was over a fourth of his passing yards,
and his
just on that one play.
And his only touchdown was that play.
And his only touchdown, their only points of the game,
Yeah.
was on that play. I mean, other than that, the Dolphins did not look like they wanted to be there.
No, not at all.
I mean, they were doing check downs when they were down by 14.
I still can't believe that Mike McDaniel wore a shirt that says "We want to be in the cold" or it was something like that.
I don't. I
Are
mean,
you kidding me?
I like the guy's confidence. And
I mean, I like Mike McDaniel, but it's like when you're getting cooked like this by the good teams. I mean, you gotta stop.
yeah, you got to be a little bit humble
Yeah.
at times. I mean, you got to know your balance. I don't think he's found the balance yet, but when he does, I think it'll be totally fine. But yeah, I mean, this Dolphins team, they got a lot of things to. I mean, they had a lot of injuries. I'll give them that, but at the same time, they have a lot to figure
Every
out.
team's got a lot of injuries.
That is true.
It just hurts.
They have a lot to figure out internally.
That's also their fault for playing like Bradley Chubb in the last minute of a pointless game. What are you doing?
Yeah,
You
I
know?
mean, a lot of their guys. That is a tough place to play because of how the weather is there. I mean, we saw it with the Bills last year with all the heat stroke stuff and
Yeah,
whatever goes on there. But at the same time, I mean, you got to be ready to play in those other conditions, especially if you're the QB. And Tua just does not know how to play in cold weather games.
Yeah, and not a great game from the running backs. I mean, we could have thought that maybe Achane can turn up a little bit. Absolutely not. Maybe if Achane can't, what if like Raheem Mostert can? No, 33 yards. I mean,
It was probably the
playing
first
8
game
carries.
this season that one of them wasn't going
because
off.
one of them always goes
Yeah.
off.
So
But this game they both did horrible.
the Dolphins rely so heavily on the run game, which it sounds weird, but they rely on the run game to make their passing attacks
Yes.
so lethal.
So it can open up the
Exactly,
pass.
and when your run game isn't going, it doesn't really open up anything for you. You got to do these short passes,
I feel like they
these
didn't try enough
screens.
with their run.
No,
I don't
they weren't really creative. They weren't the creative Dolphins that we
know.
usually see.
The
They
fun plays.
they were
nothing.
they were throwing seam routes to Durham Smythe late in the game. Like they weren't even trying to get it to Waddle or Hill. Sorry.
Yeah, Waddle's return too. I thought this
Yeah.
could have been at least something good that they had pretty much most of their offense healthy. I think it was just their defense. Who
It was a
mostly
lot of their
banged up.
defense. Yeah.
But for a healthy offense to only put up 7 points against, I mean, this is the
And
best
you know what?
defense Mahomes has had, but they still should have put up more than 7.
Yeah, I mean, in that second quarter alone, the Chiefs settled for 3 field goals inside 32 yards. So that's from the 15 in.
Yeah.
That is
Red zone.
not good for
Yeah.
the Chiefs. I mean, 3 red zone drives ending in field goals. I mean, the Dolphins, if you're the Dolphins there, you got to
take advantage
capitalize
of
on
it, yeah.
that. You have to capitalize on that. They went into halftime down by 9, and at that point you're thinking, okay, we're fine. They got the ball coming out of the half, and immediately they just did nothing.
Yeah.
They did nothing the whole half. It was probably the worst half of the wild card round.
I would say
probably
so.
the second half of that game, but I will give it credit. I thought the Dolphins were going to make it closer in the second half.
I thought they were too. I mean, you always make a
Guess
halftime
not.
adjustment, but it looks like the Chiefs' defense did a better halftime adjustment than the Dolphins' offense.
Yeah, and the Chiefs will be moving on to Buffalo, and it'll be a great game.
And the Dolphins will be moving on to Cancun.
That's right. That is right. And we love to hear that. So moving on to the next game here.
Come on.
We at your team. I mean, look at them.
Come on.
Look at them. And me and Gavin have been talking about this the last few days. We've been talking about the bridge year.
Pretty much all year we've been talking about
Yeah.
this.
I mean, I said it. I've had this with the Clippers, 2018-19, Bills in 19, Sabres last year. I mean, it happens. I mean, Gavin's new to his teams being in rebuilds.
Yeah.
And, so,
This
only
is
one of
very
his
new.
team is actually quoting a rebuild, and they're not really in it anymore.
This
So-
is supposed to be, quote, the rebuild
Yep.
year.
And I told him, I said, this is one of the most fun years for your team because you have no expectations, and if you're
Mhm.
good, you're good. If you're not, you didn't expect to be good anyway. So what's
Yeah.
the hurt? And let's hear it after.
Yeah, I'll take over
Yeah.
right here. All right, gotta get my seat warm. Excuse me. Gotta get my voice cracked. One man, number 10, Jordan Love. This kid was doubted on by probably every NFL analyst halfway through the season. Packers started out 2-5, end the season 9-8, clinch a playoff berth, beating the Chicago Bears. Hate those guys over there in Chicago. So that just want to point out that made it sweet to even make the playoffs.
Yep.
I told all my friends and Charles.
Yep.
We made the playoffs.
You were
I'm
sledding?
happy.
You were sledding?
We were sledding.
Yep,
I was
you and
sledding. Doe and
Yeah.
I recorded a video. We're saying made the playoffs. Go Pack go. Went down the hill. Had a tough turn. Ate the snow. But I mean, making the playoffs was all I. When we made the playoffs, I'm like, okay, we're going to Dallas. It's gonna be a hard game. If we lose, we lose.
And
I
you
understand.
honestly, I mean, going into that game, if you were to give it a percent, honestly, what would you give your team before you went into that game?
Well, before I was
winning.
Before I was really confident of going in there and winning, but not like a
Realistically,
blowout.
were you thinking like 30% chance?
I was thinking
winning?
more of a 42% chance we win.
42.
Yeah.
Specifically 42.
42.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean,
I like that.
Just because the Packers have a really great history inside of AT&T Stadium. First ever game we ever played there, we won the Super Bowl.
Let me mention this though. Well, that's a fun fact right there. The first game you guys played there, but the Cowboys won
16 in a row.
16 straight home games before that.
Yep.
So I guess the Packers streak outweighs the Cowboy streak, and they were also undefeated at home this year. Obviously, basically the
They
last
averaged-
2 seasons.
Did you know that they averaged 38.7 points at home?
Yeah,
The Dallas Cowboys
Yeah.
averaged 38.7 points at home. When I heard that stat, I was deathly nervous. That is where I
That
was bringing
alone,
it down to like a 27%.
because you're thinking Packers. I mean, have we even scored 38 points?
I was
How
legitimately
many times have
thinking
they
that.
scored 38 points before this game? Once, if that.
I don't think we did.
So,
We reached the 33 mark.
and you put up 48.
We put up 48. 48 goddamn points.
48-32 is the final of this game, but it really wasn't.
No, okay.
Really
I
wasn't.
want to point this out. It was
Yeah.
48-16. I don't count garbage time touchdowns that don't mean anything. After they scored that 30-second point, Charles, I will 100% admit I was really scared.
Oh, like you thought in the last.
I'm like, yep, we're done. Like we're probably gonna blow this. Knowing me, it'd be one of my teams. To
I mean,
do
that
it.
would have been 4 straight touchdowns with 2-point conversions.
Yeah,
They
I
would
mean,
have had
I
to-
don't think it would.
yeah.
It's pretty much impossible. But all right,
Never know.
Let me get talking.
Never know.
Like I mentioned his name, Jordan Love, 16 for 21, 272 yards, and 3 touchdowns. The exact same stat line as C.J. Stroud, except for 2 yards. Just want to point that out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But also,
Wow.
want to point out Jordan Love now holds the best QBR in a single playoff game ever.
Congrats.
Come on.
Congrats.
His first ever playoff game.
QB1.
Come on. If everybody's doubting that he wasn't the franchise guy, well, wake up, smell the roses. Actually, smell the cheese because we're cheeseheads out here in Green Bay.
And honestly, I'm going to say this right now. Before the season, I did not think he was going to be I'm not going to say he wasn't going to be a good NFL
No,
quarterback.
but he wasn't going to be the next.
I didn't think he was going to be the
Prodigy.
Packers guy.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to be a guy for a different team, and the Packers was just going to be those 2 years where he was going to have some decent years, maybe get them to 9-8, but
Yeah.
not make the playoffs. And he's blown that out of the water.
Yeah, I mean, for someone to sit behind, I mean, he literally had the same exact route to the NFL as Aaron Rodgers did. But the difference in what I think this makes from Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers had a QB who didn't feel like he was going to help at all. Brett Favre wasn't like nice to Aaron the most.
True.
I mean,
True.
I'm not gonna say they had a bad friendship because they're still friends to this day.
That's
but
true.
Brett Favre wasn't as supportive, but Aaron Rodgers you see everywhere. Pat McAfee show, everywhere on social media. He's saying, "I'm rooting for this kid. He's a good
And still
kid."
actively rooting for the Packers.
Yes. I mean,
Yeah.
he's literally brought up. He's like, keep the ownership alive with the Bears. I mean, this guy. I mean, I want to point this out that all of the Aaron Rodgers drama that happened for the past 3-4 years, it's over. I mean, this guy, he raised Jordan Love to be this quarterback now. He helped him because Aaron Rodgers. He knew.
And you look at it, you
but-
look at him, and you're like, is that Rodgers throwing the ball? I mean,
Some of these
it's
plays.
remarkable.
Yeah.
It's remarkable how you look at that guy, and you're like, he throws exactly like a Hall of Fame QB, and there's no difference.
I want to point out something about
Spiral
Jordan Love.
comes out the same.
Yep.
The arm action. I don't know how to describe it,
I
but it
don't
just
know.
looks like
The
Rodgers.
throwing mechanics.
Yeah.
But the one thing that Jordan Love has that I think is sweet, throwing off his back foot. What this guy can do off his back
Underrated
foot.
skill for a QB.
He throws it midair sometimes because both of his feet aren't even on the ground and he's letting ball. Anyways, Jordan Love, super excited for you. But I also do have to give some recognition to some other boys on our team. Aaron Jones owns the Dallas Cowboys.
3 touchdowns.
He has 9 touchdowns in 4 games against the Dallas Cowboys. He owns them. And I thought he had a 4-tutty game in Dallas. One of the last times we were there. I thought after he got that third, I'm like, we're going for the 4th. But anyway, so he had 118 yards off 21 carries. Feed the man the damn ball. He's had 4 straight 100-yard weeks now with this game.
Wow. Did not know that.
And he had 2 touchdowns the entire year. And just this game by itself, 3 touchdowns.
Think about when they were in their first of all, how valuable he is to this team.
He's the veteran.
Yeah.
You know, our rookie, Jaden Reed, went up to him and he said, "You are so inspirational. I look after you every single day. You do so much for this team. I want to give you a hug." That's awesome.
The low point in their season, he was hurt.
Yeah.
Think
He was
about
hurt for
that.
most
Think
of our
about the
year.
correlation. I mean, the fact that when they were playing their best ball is when he was fully healthy.
Exactly.
It goes to show how important he is to this team and how obviously Jordan Love's having a great quote rookie year, I guess we'll call it. But,
yeah, we'll let's say first starting year.
Yeah, first starting year. But I mean, Aaron Jones has been so valuable to this offense and just the team in general.
I'm just so
hearing
glad
things
that
like
he's been
that,
healthy.
especially.
Yeah, especially with Jaden Reed.
Yeah,
Jaden Reed, I just want to point this out. He had 1 target.
he did.
He didn't really get open.
He did, but
To put 48 points on him
he
getting
got
a catch.
He got Romeo Dobbs open though.
Yeah, but let's read some stats. Romeo Dobbs. Oh, Romeo. 6 receptions, 151 yards, and a tutty. I mean, wow. And then I just want to point out something really quick. I know because this is my team. I know I go far into depth, but Luke Musgrave. So I have sayings for every single guy on the field. So if there's like J Love, I'll say something. There's Romeo. I say, "Oh, Romeo." When it's Luke Musgrave and he got that wide open touchdown.
That was wide open.
Wide open.
Where was their defense?
I have no idea. But so I have a saying. I'm like, hey, put me 6 feet under, Mr. Grave. I always say something.
I like that.
And we had the same exact play earlier in this season. I'm not even joking. Not as wide open, but something close to that. And he caught the ball, and he fell down. They tagged him down at like the 5-yard line. After the game, Matt LaFleur was like, hey, he stayed on his feet. And like everybody went nuts. Just something
He's a
little
team
like
guy.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something little like that can just spark. Dontavian Wicks, while I mention his name, came out
The
of
Wick
nowhere.
man.
I knew who this guy was. He played at Virginia. I watched him play almost every single year.
I had no clue who this guy was until about 4 weeks ago.
And hey, I always say, light my candle, Wick. Like this guy is awesome. This is the team. I love every single player. I first or second year guys are so much fun to watch. Like every single time Bo Melton catches the ball,
Yep.
I say undrafted free agent rookie Bo
Yep.
Melton getting another reception. Like this team is so exciting. Charlie was right about everything he said. That this is gonna be the most exciting year because it is. And now we're in the divisional round.
Who's your Lou Williams of this team?
Our Lou Will?
Yeah,
I would probably say Dontavian Wicks.
he's the Lou Will. You think?
I'd say either him. Yeah, no.
I think it's Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones.
I think it's Aaron Jones. I think it's
I don't know.
that veteran guy.
Yeah.
Who
okay.
who basically comes from. I mean, I won't call him off the bench, but I don't know. I think he's just that veteran guy that gives them that extra push, like Lou Will did off the bench.
Okay.
Kind
I
of
like how
like
you.
that.
I was thinking about the sense of like.
The little push, but I get the Wicks too. Like,
Well, like getting some scores in,
Yeah,
helping the
like-
team out, but you
yeah.
had the sense of like some veteran leadership. And the one veteran on the team is on the offense, especially, is literally Aaron Jones.
Yep.
He's a guy who's been through all of our playoff runs recently. If there's a guy
Obviously,
who needs to step
Bakhtiari's
up,
still around, but
it sucks that he's not playing. So
Yeah, not on the field though, so he can't help with
But
those
hey,
issues.
he did tweet
but
after the game that Jordan Love is a bad man.
he is a bad man. So, I mean, let's touch on the Cowboys really quickly here. We don't really need to touch on them too much, but they did have a great season. We'll give them credit.
I'm not gonna stop that because
But
they
they're
did have a
about to
great season.
blow almost everything up, I think.
I think
and
everything's
We'll have to have another episode about what the Cowboys might do, or
with our Cowboys correspondent.
Yeah, what
that I
some of
bumped
these
into
other
last
teams
night on
might
the way
too.
back.
Yeah, I heard about that. A little run-in with the Packers and Cowboys fans that we got. But by the way, we're the only two out of our friend group that has a team left. So
Out of 12 guys.
out of 12 guys. So shout out to the Jets,
Well, I
Giants,
mean-
Cowboys, Colts.
And we do have
those teams.
We're not the only two though, because we have 4 Bills fans in our group.
That is true.
But
We're the only two teams.
only 2 teams.
Only 2 teams.
Yes.
Getting on to the Cowboy side real quick. Dak had another 400-yard passing game, but took him 60 attempts to get to it.
60
Yeah.
throws.
I mean, he had 2 picks in that game, two
One of
costly
them was
two
a pick
costly
six.
picks.
And the other one, I swear to God, I didn't realize his calf touched Brandon Cook's helmet.
Yeah.
Like, it was that little.
Mhm.
That should have been 2 pick sixes.
Yep.
Jair Alexander, I really hope he's healthy for this week.
Pack is back.
Pack is back. But, yeah, if you guys saw that clip, news reporter didn't know who he was and said he was a fan. I
I
thought
heard
that
it
was
there from a
embarrassing.
fan.
I thought that was so embarrassing that you live
really
in Green
was.
Bay. Anyways, Pack is back. Huh.
All right, so moving on from that game, we're gonna be talking.
Oh, by the
about
way, one last thing about
one
this
last
game.
thing.
The connection between Dak and CeeDee Lamb was so special this year, and it took until the fourth quarter to get CeeDee Lamb above like 100 yards. So I just want to
Awful.
say that connection this year, I was genuinely scared of going into this game, and
Especially with Jair being kind of banged up a little
Yeah.
bit too,
so
and your just cornerback depth in
I
general
mean, it's
being
so
banged
young,
up. Yeah,
so young. So we have Valentine and Valentine. So, and they got some good playing time.
they
So,
do. So moving on to probably the game of the week.
Oh my God, hands down.
Probably game of the week. Definitely the best half of the week. Rams at Lions. This was a great game. The storylines in this game were great. Matt Stafford
Helped
returning.
out Detroit get a first
Mhm.
playoff win in
Yeah.
32 years.
I mean, do you think he wanted that
I think he
at
might
the
have
end of the
wanted
like?
that.
If he's sitting on
I
his
think
couch
he's
right
happy
now,
right now,
you
know?
think he's thinking, "Yeah, I'm rooting for the team." Kind of like how Aaron Rodgers is
Yeah.
rooting for.
I think he's rooting for
it's a
Detroit.
little bit different
I mean,
because you lose to the team.
I know he definitely wanted to win.
Yeah.
But now that he can sit on his couch and be like, all right, let's go Lions. You know?
Right? Yeah. Like, I'll give him this run.
Yeah.
He already won his. He got his. Let them get one. But this Lions team, it was really cool seeing their fans and because Bills fans, I mean, we can relate totally to the crying in the stands after a win. I mean, Kelvin Johnson returning was pretty
That was
cool
awesome.
on the sideline.
That was awesome. That was really cool.
A lot of their legends there was just, it was a really cool scene. I mean, I made sure to tune into the pregame. I don't always watch the pregame, but made sure to watch the pregame to hear the sounds and everything in the atmosphere of that stadium.
Electric.
It was electric. And MCDC had the boys rolling. But let's start talking about the Rams real quick.
Yeah.
Matt Stafford,
What a run,
the
by
man.
the way.
I mean,
Just want-
he
they
had
were
such
supposed
a
to have
good
rebuild
game.
Year two.
Such a good game for the great season for the Rams. Yeah, you're right. But great game for Matt Stafford. He was placing balls wherever he wanted.
He was really good.
He went 25 for 36, 367 passing yards, and those 2 touchdowns. Kyron Williams had a pretty decent game, 13 carries, 61 yards, a few long runs to set up some scoring drives for them. And this guy right here, Puka Nacua, I mean,
He's not going anywhere.
we doubted him
We did.
at the end of the season. We were thinking, oh yeah, he was a first half great player. I mean,
Cooper Kupp's back
he
and-
broke the rookie yard
And reception.
and reception record.
Crazy.
Smashed them.
Yeah.
Smashed them in this game. 9 receptions, 181 yards, and a touchdown.
Couple
Are
of
you
his
kidding
catches.
me?
There was one where he absolutely got smoked.
Yep.
And I'm like, how did he hang on
He's
to
so
that
tough,
ball?
man. He's so tough.
He's a pure athlete. I watched the War Room video about this guy persuading Sean McVay to pick him.
Really?
And
I did not see that.
Sean McVay's like, oh, the kid from BYU kid. They call him like BYU kid.
Yeah.
Picked him up, and I can't remember who was telling McVay that this kid was going to be really good. And he was going to actually help the team.
Probably got a raise.
I hope
Probably
he gets
got a raise. I mean, that's a guy that you'll have for as long as you want him
As
on
long
the
as you
team.
want him.
I mean, hopefully he can do it again next year.
I'm really praying,
and
that
I'm
he
rooting
can.
for him. I mean, that's a guy. This is a lot of year of like rooting for guys.
I'm also pretty curious what Matthew Stafford's road is from now on.
Do they stick with him?
Do they stick with him? Does he maybe step away from
I
the
think
game?
he stays there. I think he
gets one more year.
I think he gets at least another year if they're successful again. I think he just keeps going until they don't have a successful year in LA.
With him healthy too.
With him healthy,
Because like
yes.
that year last year,
Yeah.
he just wasn't healthy.
So I mean, good for them finding their wide receiver 2/1 of the future in Puka, and hopefully he can keep it going for next year. But I mean, this Lions team,
Especially
my NFC team, we're rolling right now. I don't know what's going on with these teams that I like, but we're kind of going a little bit. Jared Goff, he had such an efficient game. I mean, the yards weren't there.
It doesn't matter
but
when he puts the ball in people's hands.
He
You know?
literally does. You're right. 22 for 27, 277 yards, a lot of 2s and 7s there, and a touchdown pass.
It should have been another 2, you know?
But those running backs for the Lions, I mean, they don't
That's
stop,
such
man.
a great duo.
Such a good tandem, and you don't know who's going to be the guy. I mean, this game it was Montgomery, 14 carries, 57 yards, and a touchdown. Gibbs also added a touchdown, but he had 8 carries for 25 yards. So, I mean, you wouldn't be shocked if you saw that stat line flipped with the names.
Yeah.
And it's just a good problem to have for them.
They're great together.
Yeah,
Because
they
you have a
complement
power
each other
back,
so well.
like a power-ish back and like Dave Montgomery. Then you have some guy who can catch the ball and space out the offense a little bit more. And
What's great is that an underrated part of that is having good blocking wide receivers, which they do. I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown is a decent blocking wide receiver for being the star that he is.
Laporta's a pretty good.
Laporta's a decent
easy
blocking tight end, even though he's so good offensively or in the pass catching game as well.
Play until I saw he had
No,
the
and
first
good
catch.
for him for playing too. And hopefully Tyler Higbee's okay after his injury late in the game. That you hate to see that.
That was a gruesome.
He walked off the field, so
I'm still surprised he walked.
that's good. But
I was
hopefully he's
holding my
okay.
knee.
Yeah,
I felt
it.
the pain in my
Felt
knee.
it.
I was like grabbing.
Mhm.
Oh.
So St. Brown, 7 receptions, 110 yards. This guy's unreal. Josh Reynolds, he's really stepped up for this team.
He came out of nowhere this year. Not gonna lie.
5 receptions for 80 yards, an average of 16. He had that long catch. Or was it him? Who had it? Who had that long, like 50-yard
Pretty
reception?
sure it was Reynolds.
It was Reynolds.
I'm pretty sure.
Somebody had a long 50-yard reception. I think it was him. Regardless, I mean, their offense is rolling right now. So
they are rolling.
look out for this team and the timely defense. Always.
It's not the greatest, but
Aiden
it's
Hutchinson's
time.
always in there at the right time. You saw a really good game from Alex Anzalone, the linebacker.
He played great.
He stepped
played
up this
great.
year.
He only had
And-
2 plays where I was like, oh, he could have made the tackle, but
Mhm.
or like made the tackle sooner, but he still got the tackle. Does that make sense?
And yes, I agree. And then I mean, a guy like C.J. Gardner-Johnson, a leader on that
He is.
secondary, one of the only leaders that they really have on that defense. And I mean, he's done so well for that.
You start to
team,
kind
too.
of wonder too about this defense. I don't know if you think about this, but I think about this. What if like Big Play Slay was still in Detroit? What if
I
Jeff
mean-
Okudah was actually good? Like
Yeah,
some of
it's-
these questions. Like
It's really tough because I mean
Oh.
they only got Okuda because Slay left.
yeah,
That was the only reason, really. I mean, and it seemed like it was going to be a good thing for them because they got this guy 3rd overall. Slay was a little bit older, leaving. Slay turns out to be this Pro Bowl, All-Pro corner.
yeah.
I mean, is Okuda even still on the team?
He's on the Atlanta Falcons. I looked it up when I was in Florida and Christmas break
Wow.
because I was so curious where he
Wow.
was at. Yeah, he's on the Falcons.
So, I mean, there you have it right there. So, Lions moving on for the first time since
32 years.
1991.
That's great for them.
1991. So, shout out to Detroit. And they get another home game. Going to be
Yeah.
electric. Going to be electric.
My dad, we were talking, and we were talking to our good old buddy Cole, and Cole's like, "Hey, Scotty, you see that Lions won for the first time in 32 years and since 1991?" My dad's like, "Wow, 91's when I graduated college."
So, the Lions have not
Since you
moved
graduated
on
college.
since he graduated
And
college.
he goes, "That makes you kind of feel young, though." So, hey, man, at least you get to feel young,
There
though,
you go.
Scotty.
There you go. Shout out, Scotty Williams. Moving on to Scotty Williams' favorite team, my favorite team, the Buffalo Bills, getting
and
it
our,
done.
And our EP's favorite team. Come on now.
Yeah, and the EP's favorite team. And that goes without saying, though. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
you know, from Buffalo. Bills getting the dub, 31-17. It was a great, just start to finish
I
win.
just liked this game for some reason. It wasn't even like the best game. It was just like a kind of fun game to watch.
It was a
though.
good game to watch. It was just a fun, entertaining game. I mean, there was a few really exciting plays that happened, like the Allen 52-yard rush. That was
was awesome.
I mean, we don't see him do that at all. That was the longest rush of his career.
And it was a touchdown.
And it was a touchdown. Actually, I think it was the longest touchdown rush of his career. I don't know. Either way,
yeah,
he doesn't do that often.
Charlie and I were talking about that specific play, and I was like, Charlie, if you add on like the 5 extra yards he had to run too, because he was in shotgun.
Close to 60, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he was sniffing 60 yards right there if they counted that.
Yeah, so, I mean, just a great game from the Bills. I mean, started off what you want to do in the playoffs. You want to start off hot. I mean,
they went up 21.
Going up 21 early in the game. I mean, halfway through the second quarter, you're up 21-0. That just basically it just defeats a team. It just defeats a team psychologically. Yep. So, especially a 7 seed against a 2 seed. Yeah. So that's what I was looking and planning for us to do, but we actually did it this time, so that was great.
The Packers are the first ever 7 seed to win in the NFL playoffs. Just want to point that out.
Shout out. Yeah, that's a big stat right there. So, Allen, he had a pretty good game. Pretty good game.
I say he has a pretty good game.
200 yards passing. It's all right, but he had those 3 touchdowns.
3 touchdowns.
Passing.
Yeah.
And then plus the rushing touchdown.
That's 4 total.
James Cook had 18 carries for 79 yards.
Hit the over on the yards last night.
It's crazy because James Cook, I mean, I feel like we don't give him that many touches. I feel like we don't give him enough touches, but he still gets 80 yards every game. Like, it's great.
It's so consistent from him. I'm a really big James Cook fan. He's doing everything right for that offense.
He proved that he's the running back of the future this year.
And he's the perfect person to put in that place.
He really is, because he's a great pass-catching back, too, so he can really do a lot.
Especially in a lights-out Bills offense.
Yeah, another great young player, a rookie, would probably be the best rookie tight end of all time if it weren't for Sam Laporta.
Yeah.
Dalton Kincaid, just unreal, man. 3 receptions, 59 yards for a touchdown. He's great. I can't really say enough about the guy. He does everything so well, and he just has such a good attitude, too, that he brings in the locker room. He's just already a great leader on the team, too. So
I told my brother something before this game even happened. It was 2 days before it happened. Connell, my brother, was looking at the All-Pro teams, and he's like, wow, there's not a single Bill except for, I think Taron Johnson was the only All-Pro.
Yep, he was second-team All-Pro.
Yep.
So
and I was
disrespectful.
It was very. But I was telling Connell, I'm like, there's one thing you want is a pissed off Josh Allen.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I don't think Josh deserved to be an All-Pro, but
I think second team he could have sniffed it. Though.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
To at least
could have got it.
To only have one guy. I know we were decimated by injuries by a lot of our key players, but same time, I mean, not even getting looks or anything for Ed, for I mean, maybe you could throw in like Rousseau and Floyd in there, maybe Poyer if you really want to, but I mean, Taron, well deserving.
Well deserved. If he did not get that, I actually would have been really mad.
I don't know how any of our offensive linemen. We had the same offensive line. Knock on wood, we've had the same offensive line the whole year, and besides those 3 plays that Dion didn't play last game because it was mandatory that he had to come out. But other than that, our offensive line has been great, including Dion. I think Dion, our left tackle,
stepped up this season.
Should have definitely been a second-team All-Pro or first-team All-Pro. I
agree.
I don't care.
It's hard to be first team, especially with Trent Williams there.
It is, but at the same time, I mean, it's just a tackle position. It's not.
It is. That is really true.
It's not left tackle, right tackle. Yeah. So, I mean, I do think Dion should have at least been considered more than he was.
And our AP, he's boys with him.
He is. They are pretty close friends. So they're you already know. You already know. But I want to give credit to Stephon Diggs because this dude has not been putting up that many yards. He put up 52 yards the other day, but he had those 7 receptions. But if you really watch that game, you know how impactful he was in the game. I mean, he picks up catches on third downs. I mean, that's what you don't get if you don't watch these games for the Bills. You'll look at Diggs, you'll be like, oh, he's really struggling. He's not putting up 80, 90 yards each game.
He's putting up the first downs,
He's picking up the yards that we need him to pick up, and then all the other guys can do what they do, stretch the field.
You guys have a great team.
I mean, it's all complementary. It's all about finding what you need to do to succeed. And I think
like Jayden Reed not catching a ball, but blocking.
And I'm not a big fan of coaching changes midseason, but switching to Joe Brady, our defensive coordinator, has been night and day.
I mean, I think only one.
We've lost one game since Joe Brady's been the OC, and it was the OT loss against Philly.
And I said to my dad, I said, you 100% have to hire him next year.
100%. And
100%.
If we don't, we deserve to lose him.
Yeah.
And he deserves to have. I think he could be considered for a head coaching job in 2 years.
Yeah, I mean,
for sure, maybe even next year, but.
Yeah.
Glad we have him on our side.
I just want to point this out, too, especially with Joe Brady, putting up these numbers. I mean, the Steelers' defense, I mean, I know they lost T.J. Watt.
Yeah.
But that's a great defense.
That secondary, they're experienced. Pat, Pete, Minka, they had Joey Porter Jr., who got hurt yesterday, and I hope he's okay.
Yeah, I hope he's okay. Too.
But I mean, Miles Jack in the linebacking core right there, and not to mention their D line, who
it's notoriously good.
Yeah, it was always good.
And
so
he still put up 31 points. I mean, I just feel like the Bills are, like I said in the Instagram post, it's all about who's hot at the right time, and the Bills are hot at the right time, especially with a brand new OC, interim OC. By the way, walks laps before every single game. Did it in shorts yesterday.
He's a dog. He's a dog. I mean, and you know who else is a dog? AJ Klein. I'm going to give him credit for that. And Dorian Williams. Fun fact, we did not have one linebacker play more than 50% of the snaps during that game.
Wow.
So we had 4 linebackers, unfortunately, because Terrell Bernard and
Bernard was having a really good year.
Bernard got hurt, and then we've been kind of just struggling at our linebacker depth right now with all the injuries that we have. But Dorian Williams and AJ Klein stepped up so big. AJ Klein essentially coming off the street, getting 11 tackles. I mean, can't ask much more from that guy. And a guy like Kyer Elam, who's been very disappointing for us and really just has not lived up to his first round.
He almost had 2 picks.
He almost had 2 picks. He had the one,
yeah.
and he was in the red zone, which was big. It turned out to be massive in that
10,
game.
Right?
It was inside the 10. They were about to score, and they were poised to score in that drive. And because Najee Harris was having a really good drive, and Rudolph, who did not look terrible yesterday.
He didn't look bad.
I'll give him credit too. He played a pretty decent game, but
he's got some Letty coming out now too.
To show Kyer Elam and the depth that we have in this team and the belief, even though he's a first-round guy, gets benched. He had everything. I mean, for us, he was supposed to be our cornerback 1 when Trey was gone, but
supposed to.
He played his role. When time came, he stepped up. It's all you have to do.
It's all you can ask.
It's all you can ask.
Yeah.
AJ Klein stepped up. Dorian Williams stepped up. Jordan Poyer stepped up yesterday. I mean, what can you say about this team? That's what you have to do in the playoffs, and they're doing it right now.
And honestly, I love that the depth's actually getting it done.
Yeah, usually it doesn't, but
it's hard, especially in the playoffs, to get a job done. I know it's the Steelers and it's not the greatest team, but it's still a playoff team. At the very end of the day, they're still coached by one of the greatest NFL coaches ever.
Yeah.
So, just want to point that out.
Yeah, I mean, shout out Tomlin. I mean, he did basically
somehow
all
made this
he
a
could.
10-win team. I'm still surprised this was a 10-win team.
I mean, shout out to them. I mean, we tied the second half. We both had 10 points. So, I mean, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
I mean, they said a bad first quarter. Actually, we tied from the second quarter on.
Yeah.
So they said a bad first quarter, and that was the difference in the game. That's why you play all 4.
That's why you play all 4 quarters.
That's why you play all 4. So I'm excited next week, and this has to be the year for us.
It
has to be.
Because
the injuries to the Bengals that they had, they weren't even in the playoffs this year. They're probably going to be back every year after this. Yeah. So I mean, we have to take advantage of it. And getting Mahomes at home, his first ever road playoff game.
Yeah.
We got to take advantage of that too.
With the little rivalry that's going on. I mean,
we'll talk about that in about 2 minutes.
Yeah, we'll get into it. Yeah.
Let's touch quick. Yeah, touch quick about this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team and this Philadelphia Eagles team. I mean, I think we'll have a
game last night.
I think we'll have a full episode about the Eagles and Cowboys, and maybe we'll go by each division and say what each team can do this offseason. I think that's a good little plan right there. Yeah. But Bucs absolutely dominating the Philadelphia Eagles last night. The Eagles only scored in 1 quarter.
Yep.
And it was
the second quarter.
It was the second quarter, and it was just a field goal and touchdown. I mean, that was really it. It's really all they did the whole game was the second quarter. But that Bucs team, Baker Mayfield, they look
good.
They look good. They look motivated. They knew that nobody really had them winning this game.
I didn't.
Or at least confident that they would actually win. Maybe you had some people saying, "Oh yeah, they can squeak it out," but they didn't squeak this one out. They won, dominant win, 23 points.
Right in front of the fans too. That was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, scoring that last touchdown right at the end was really kind of just that.
Baker was hyped,
kick in the butt. And what about the last one that Baker kind of just threw off his back foot and he kind of just caught it like a center fielder?
It was like so casual.
Yeah, so
casual.
Kind of the nail in the coffin for the Eagles there, and what a kind of a fitting way for their season to end. I mean,
literally putting up 10 wins and losing. I think it was 5 of the last 6 games or something like that.
Yeah, it
was crazy.
A complete collapse. I don't remember seeing a collapse like this in a team for a while.
It's been a long time since I've seen something like this.
Because even the collapse that the Steelers had that one year that they were undefeated that long, I mean, we knew they weren't good.
Yeah, we knew they were playing bad teams.
This Eagles team, we both had them probably mid-season going to the Super Bowl, and it was kind of like
I did have them going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean,
my
maybe
prediction.
the Niners at that point, but you're thinking, yeah, it's Eagles or Niners.
Yeah.
And they were at the top of the standings the whole year. They followed the 5 seed. We're like, okay, they're still fine. They can come back, playoffs.
Because it's playoffs, but no.
Man.
Jalen Hurts was getting a mouthful from Dallas Goedert on the sideline.
Dallas Goedert, it looked yesterday, I'll give him that. Him and Devontae Smith were two of the only players in that team that actually wanted to play.
Yep.
And
100%.
Jalen Hurts, I like him as a quarterback a lot, and I think he's a great leader. But at the same time, he has terrible body language when his team is down.
It's so he just pouts.
Yeah. I don't think he pouts to the point where it's like annoying pout like Mahomes.
No.
But it's kind of just like he just gets quiet.
Pout, yeah.
He just gets quiet, and he doesn't say anything, and he doesn't lead.
Yep.
He doesn't try to
get our way back. Yeah.
Yield a comeback. He doesn't try to do anything, and that I think
at least this year.
I think that comes from not being down in his career. I mean, he's always been a winner. So
except for his very first year, but he wasn't even the quarterback the whole year.
No, he wasn't. So that's what I'm saying. Like he doesn't really know how to lose and how to handle losing. And having the loss in the Super Bowl last year, you thought maybe that's the hardest loss you can ever have. I mean, he'll come back from that, but he just, I don't know, when they started stringing these together, you can kind of see the writing on the wall. It was either this round or next round they get out, but
who knows with this team anymore?
Bumped them early.
Who knows if they might light things up too?
Honestly, I'm glad the Bucs won because at the end of the day, you want to see the best teams play.
Yes.
And I think right now the Bucs are one of the best 4 teams in the NFC.
I think they are too. 100%.
I don't think you can disagree with that. I mean, I think maybe not. Maybe they're definitely top 7. I think they definitely are a playoff team.
Yeah,
though.
they are.
They definitely
just proved that yesterday.
They proved that they are a playoff team. A lot of people were questionable, including myself, saying, "Hey, could the Saints have been here and then been the same result?" But the Saints would not have blown out the Eagles like this or the Falcons.
Nope.
So the Bucs were the right team to get it done. Also, 4 straight years in the playoffs, 3 straight division titles goes so underlooked. So
it does.
I'm going to give them credit for that too.
Especially with a brand new quarterback this year.
And new head coach Todd Bowles.
Yeah.
I mean, was terrible with the Jets, but really kind of built back up the kind of just the team in general in Tampa.
And now you actually start to think, like, Mike Evans is probably going to resign.
I was thinking that last night.
Resign.
Like,
if he thinks that they have a legit
think
run,
about how hard it is for a guy to live somewhere for 10 years
and just leave.
Yeah. Just because he wants to win somewhere else. Like, you got to think about he would have to find a new house. Like, he would have to move his family.
Yeah.
He's got to do all these things. He's got to find a new school for his kids just so he can play 1 year in Philly. Like, or Dallas. Like, that's not worth it at the end of the day. Like, you want to.
Life is more important than football.
That's true, and you want to keep your legacy cemented too. And who's to say if Mike Evans is going to leave or not? Because who really knows?
Don't know,
Who really knows? But I mean, I think he should stay a Buccaneer because they showed that graphic last night. He is by far and away the best wide receiver they've ever had.
Yeah.
Stat wise, he is double what Chris Godwin is, who is their second best in all of their stats all time.
Yep.
And he's double all of Chris Godwin's stats. So, I mean, just an unreal career so far for Mike Evans if he decides to somehow be done after this year, which I think he's still got some in the tank, but who knows. But we'll monitor his situation as well as like T. Higgins and those kind of elite wide receivers that we got this offseason. But Bucs get the win here, and we're moving on to the divisional now.
We are very, very excited for this divisional round right here. As the first matchup, which I actually think might be game of the week, has potential. Texans at Ravens.
Yeah, so before we get into our predictions here, we're going to say our predictions right now, but if you want a more in-depth version of our predictions, go to our Instagram.
At Out of Bounds Podcast, a dot in between every single word.
That post will be up shortly after this episode is posted, probably either within a day or same day.
Yeah.
So just be on the lookout for that. Repost it. Do what you got to do.
Get the word out.
But, just take a look at it and let us know if you disagree or agree or what you think could happen in each of the games this weekend because, we want to hear what you guys think too.
Yeah, absolutely. We love feedback and we love comments.
Yeah, we do.
We love responding to them, looking at them, liking them. It's funny.
So let's get into it now. What do you think? What do you think about this game?
I got Texans, man.
You got Texans?
I'm still not big on the Ravens for some reason. I mean, I think they are a legit threat to the NFL is that they could beat anyone when they proved that they could beat anybody, especially when they demolished the Niners. And they benched everybody, so everybody's perfectly rested. Everybody has had 3 weeks, pretty much. Two full weeks, plus a couple extra days. Because they benched everybody for that Steelers game. Now they get the week off. Now they have all of this week. So that's pretty much 3 weeks to prepare for an NFL game. That's what I don't like. That's one thing I don't like. I don't like first-round buys that much. I remember when the Packers had it, I'm like, oh, cool, we're the 1 seed, so that playoffs come through Lambeau. But I don't like my guys resting.
Sitting for that week.
Yeah.
You're usually sitting week 18, too.
Yeah.
You're right, yeah.
So
I didn't think about that.
With the Texans coming off a great win, they are red hot right now, coming to a very hard place to play.
And mind you, this is kind of a weird situation where it's weird because the Bills are the 2 seed, but they've been playing playoff ball for the last
5 weeks.
5 weeks.
Yeah.
The Texans have been in the same situation. They've been playing playoff ball definitely since week 18 in that play-in game, basically, with the Colts. But, I definitely think those are great points for the Texans right there.
Yeah, so I'm just going to say a team that stays hot, I think will stay hot. I think the Ravens, they have 3 weeks off pretty much, 2 and some change. I think the Texans just purely because they're hot, and the Ravens have been sitting on their butts for a week.
And honestly, I agree with you on a lot of those points, but I am taking the Ravens in this game.
I mean, it's hard to pick against them.
It is hard to pick against. I honestly, legitimately think, and you might call me crazy, I think they're the best team left in the playoffs.
I can 100% see why you said that. I
don't
100% see why.
I don't see a reason why you can say any other team. They beat the other 1 seed by a ton.
Yeah, it wasn't even a close game.
And they've been at the top of the AFC the whole season. Season.
They have, except for like week 2 or something like that.
Yeah, except for early in, I'm counting like week 5 on.
Yeah.
Week 5 on. They've been at the top of the standings for the whole season. And teams like the Chiefs, they've been up and down. The Bills obviously were up, then back down, and then back up. The Jags were up there, back down. I mean, and for them, with all their injuries, including Mark Andrews coming back this week.
I did forget about that one.
I mean, that's a big jolt to that team. Having that guy, that leader back on that team. And mind you, this team has not had postseason success. No. Lamar has not had any success in the playoffs, even in his MVP season, obviously. Mark Andrews hasn't seen much. Really, none of these guys have.
Only Odell, really. It was just
only Odell, and
year.
It wasn't even, once again, his team.
Yeah.
I only count his teams as like the Giants and Browns.
Yeah.
Realistically. Even I know that's not right, but whatever.
I mean, it was a one and done with LA.
One and done with LA, but he still got his ring, and he's a veteran guy, so he can. That's another reason I think that the Ravens are going to win this game. Zay Flowers is hot. Likely their backup tight end is hot.
Likely is a dog.
So they got a 2 tight end set similar to the Bills. And honestly, I would love to go into Baltimore and play them. I would love to have the AFC Championship at home against Houston. That'd be great if the Bills win. But going into Baltimore, playing in that atmosphere, that's a great atmosphere to play in too. AFC Championship Sunday at 3:00. I mean, that'd be such a good game. You can't tell me you don't want to see Bills Ravens AFC Championship.
I would love that more than seeing the Texans.
I think any of these matchups would be great.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to see Chiefs in either one, obviously.
No.
But Texans or Ravens, I would be fine playing both because I think we can definitely have a better chance of beating the Texans. But I don't really care about beating the easy teams anymore. I mean, we already got our easy win with the Steelers, and you don't get many easy wins in the playoffs regardless. So, I mean, you gotta play the best teams, and I want to leave no what's it called? No questions. Yeah. I don't want to leave any questions about what this team is about and the run that they've gone on. I don't want it to be a Mickey Mouse run.
Yeah.
You know, even though a ring's a ring, and I would do anything for a Bill Super Bowl ring, but I want it done the right way.
Yeah.
And like with Michigan, I think Michigan did it, beat the 2 best teams in that playoff besides ourselves. In my opinion. But you want to beat the best teams, and I think those teams are good teams to do it against. So absolutely. I got the Ravens. That one.
All right, that was just the first game.
I know.
The second game on Saturday, the night game, is my Green Bay Packers marching into Santa Clara against the Niners.
Yeah, and you want me to go first on this one?
Yeah, I'll let you go first.
So I'm going to take the Niners in this one. And
it's really hard to pick against them, too.
Yeah, I just don't think they can beat the 1 and 2 seed back-to-back weeks.
It's the hardest thing to do.
On the road.
both times.
I want to see them do it. I really do. And I know you believe me.
Oh, I know you do.
But
yeah.
I don't know, man. This Niners team is
Dude,
dangerous.
It's the best Niners team we've seen since they made the Super Bowl.
And also, they're in almost the same situation as the Ravens, man. Except they've had a little bit more postseason success, which will drive them, I think, maybe a little bit more.
Yeah.
So
and now with the Eagles and the Cowboys out,
they know.
The Niners have.
They know.
Yeah, the Niners know this is the year.
This is the year for them.
This is the year. I mean, they know that.
And obviously, if the Packers can get by the Niners here,
who says that
the Packers know that they can beat the Bucs or the Lions. I mean, they've done it.
They beat the Lions, but they lost to the Bucs.
I know they lost to the Bucs, but they can definitely beat the Bucs. I mean, Tampa's not a crazy place to go into and play. So,
yeah. I
mean, Detroit's a little bit different story, but regardless, I mean, I think this game's going to be a really good game. I think it'll be close, but I just think the Niners get that extra edge.
No, completely makes sense. I can't pick against my team here.
I fully understand.
So,
can't.
No, I can't.
You can't.
Especially in the playoffs.
No.
100% can.
No.
I'm going to go to the Packers. If we can just play how perfect we've been playing, I don't see why we can't.
I agree. I totally agree.
That's all I'm really going to say.
It's crazy because you guys have been playing literally perfectly the last few weeks, but that could also be the spell of will that catch up to you at some point?
I mean, when you're hot, you get cold. I mean, that makes sense.
Would you be surprised if you guys got blown out this game?
No.
No.
Yeah, because I'm honest with myself.
Would you be surprised if you blew them out?
No, I wouldn't be. Because
it's the bridge year. It's what happens. Yeah. It's just what happens.
It's just crazy. And that's the thing is I can't predict anything.
No.
I really thought the Packers were going to win against Cowboys just to shock the world. But now
you legitimately did.
I did.
You had full confidence that whole week since that matchup came out that you guys were going to go in there and win.
Yeah.
And I really didn't because I thought, they don't have A-Rod. That's been the key that they've had the last few years, that they can get to the NFC Championship and whatever happens in that game. But they at least they can win that divisional game or the wild card game, in a tough atmosphere. And that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, and I just think with this game is just so much harder. This is I think 49ers are a better team top down, top to bottom. I mean, this
tougher
is a
place to play.
Yeah, I think this is also a San Francisco team that demolished this Cowboys team,
and I think they could benefit from the week off too.
Yeah, I think they will,
especially because they're an older team. So
yeah.
I mean, an older team. It helped the Eagles last year. It helped the Chiefs last year. It could help both these teams again this year, but I think the Ravens, it'll hurt them a little bit more than
because the Texans are just so young.
Yeah. And the Niners have had experience with maybe some of their guys have
especially
had
like
the
Trent
bye
Williams
before.
Getting healthy.
Exactly.
CMC kind of needed a week off.
Kittle definitely needs a week off. The dude takes hits like crazy.
I mean, like
Debo has been banged up. Purdy's been banged up too.
Yeah. That was
whole team.
I think
the whole team.
There was a big difference because the Niners get like the rest that they finally need.
Yep.
I gotta go Packers though because
it's totally
we're
fair.
red hot.
Totally fair.
Red
it's
hot,
your team,
and this is my team. I'm not picking against them. And oh my God, would this be sweet if Jordan Love was the one to beat the Niners in the playoffs? That'd be cool.
I mean, do you think it'd be kind of like a slap in the face to A-Rod?
No, because they have a really good relationship, but to everybody else, they think it will.
Like, at the end of this is the first season A-Rod's not been involved in the Packers organization.
His whole career.
If they can somehow go on and, well, I'm not going to say, I'll say go to the Super Bowl. If they can get to the Super Bowl, something that he did one time, right, with the Packers. If Love can do that in his first full season as QB,
that'd be awesome, man.
Do you think that's a little bit of a slap in the face to A-Rod? Just a little bit? Like a little tap?
A little tap. But, I mean, Aaron knows how good this kid was when
that is definitely true because he was the one that taught him basically everything he knows. So he knows how much
that's what makes me love Aaron Rodgers even more now. But yeah, Packers are gonna go into Santa Clara. I really hope they shock the world again because that was awesome, and it's my team. Can't pick against them. So hopefully I can see the Packers NFC Championship game. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, that would be great too. That'd be great too. And I hope our teams meet in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean,
that'd be great. Come on.
That would be unreal.
But I'm also gonna say this right now: if the Packers lose to the Niners, I will be rooting for the Niners out for the NFC. I mean, I don't want the Bucs or the Lions to make the Super Bowl.
It's really hard because
in the NFC,
it's hard because I really want to see literally any other team besides the Chiefs win.
Yeah,
the Super Bowl. I don't care. Like, I mean, obviously the Bills first.
Yeah,
and
obviously.
that goes without saying. But out of those other 6 teams, I do not care at all if one of them wins the Super Bowl. And actually, I would love it because I love when new teams win, especially
every
teams.
single one of these teams are.
Yeah, I mean the Lions, they don't have a Super Bowl, and they don't really have any postseason success. I mean the Bucks, they're
just a new
they're
team.
different. Yeah, I mean they have a lot of the same guys, but different quarterback.
Oh,
I mean,
come
let's
on,
see
I
if
mean,
Baker can do it. He's a likable guy.
Yeah.
Niners, they haven't won forever. Packers, young team, fun team. They haven't also won in a decent amount of time. I mean, for the Packers.
13 years.
Ravens, let's see if Lamar can do it.
Yep.
And the Texans, I mean, they've been to a Super Bowl. Same
Yep.
with the Lions. I mean, Bills haven't won ever.
Yeah. Chiefs.
Why isn't everybody rooting against the Chiefs? Why isn't everybody rooting against the Chiefs?
I think it was all of America rooting against the Cowboys last week. I think it might be all of America rooting against the Chiefs.
I agree, and I think a lot of people have realized that how annoying the Chiefs are, and how I'll say it, I guess, how right the fans of the teams that they don't like were, because nobody likes the Chiefs, and some people just didn't see it. Especially like NFC fans, they didn't really understand how much the AFC teams hate
I
the
didn't
Chiefs
understand
because he's just so annoying.
Yeah.
He's just so annoying. I can't describe it, and I don't really want to spend more breath on this guy
Yeah.
that I have to. But
Well, you're gonna have to right now, though.
yeah, we're gonna pick let's pick the Bills Chiefs game right now. I'm gonna go with the Bills. Simple as that. We're at home. Mahomes is not coming in. I'm giving you a guarantee right now. Mahomes is not coming into Buffalo in his first ever road playoff game and winning a game. He's just not gonna do it. He's not gonna do it. There's no reason why we are gonna let him come into our house when we've done it twice, lost at their place in the playoffs. There's no reason why he's gonna beat us for the third time in the last 4 years at our place, when we have a chance to potentially host an AFC championship. And we will know when that game happens if we are hosting or not and who we're playing. So
And they'll know too, actually.
And if I actually hope Houston wins, because that'll give us even more motivation to have that game at home. I mean, we'll have a lot of motivation, especially Allen. I mean, he knows too. This is a game for his legacy. This is
his legacy.
This is a legacy game. Like, I say that a lot. Yeah. I say that a lot, like jokingly.
This is no joke.
But this is legitimately a game where Josh Allen can not cement his legacy as whatever, but if he can beat Mahomes in this game, he can further solidify that he is potentially a more talented quarterback than Patrick Mahomes. I think he is, but I'm not going to say a greater quarterback, because I think Mahomes is a greater quarterback. Like, greatness is a factor in the game. Yep. Winning is a factor in the game, obviously, and accolades are. But I think from a pure talent perspective, I think we got our guy. Hey, and I like us.
And you know who I'm going to go with? I like us.
Chiefs.
How about them Bills?
How about the Bills?
Come on.
Really?
I got the Bills in this
Here we go.
one. I like them a lot. As I said last week, a team that's hot is who I'm going to pick in the playoffs. The Bills have had their backs against the wall for the last 5 weeks, pretty much for all season, sticking at 500 at one point, being under 500 at one point. They've had their backs against the wall for a long time. And what did they do with it? They create a 2 seed. Who would have thought they would have made the 2 seed in the playoffs?
No, not even me. I mean, I had confidence we were going to make the playoffs, but being the 2 seed is such a game changer.
It is.
I mean, think about, I said this too. You watch Miami and Pittsburgh play that game, and you think that one of them was going to be in the divisional round? Really?
Yeah. I did
really?
Not, yeah.
You think that one? So this Bills-Chiefs game would have been played last week, and one of these teams would have been gone.
Yeah. That's crazy.
That's a disservice to football.
That would have been
That's a disservice to football.
That would have been awful.
So
just want to point that out.
I just want to point out how big of a win for America it was that the Bills won that game against Miami. But regardless, we're going to be in for a great game this Sunday. But honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if the Bills blow them out.
I wouldn't be shocked either.
I wouldn't be shocked.
Hear me out, though.
I don't think we get blown out.
I don't think you guys
I think we can
out.
blow them out. I don't anticipate us blowing them out, but we could.
You could blow them out because you have film. They also have film, but something different. Like, I don't think that Chiefs defense can stop this Bills offense, and I don't really think that that Chiefs offense can really stop this defense. I think you guys just match up so well this year against the Chiefs where you haven't in past years, and this is finally a team, even though it's hurt, where the depth is starting to step up, where the Bills finally get over the curve, and I think they're going to the championship game, and I think they're going to the goddamn Super Bowl. I'm going to put it out there right now.
It's got a chill through my body right there, Gavin. I don't know about you, but I just got a little chill there. I was just thinking about how something that we have that they don't. We have a Travis Kelce stopper. A lot of teams don't have that.
That's very
His name is
true.
Teron Johnson. He's the second-team All-Pro. Ever heard of him? And then, I mean, if we can get one corner to play a good game against
one.
Rashee Rice,
That's just
Rasul Douglas, play next. We sat him last week so he can play next
That's
week.
my guy.
He can play next week and lock up Rashee Rice. If we can do that,
He 100%
and our
can.
safeties can just cover over the top, we know Marquez Valdez-Scantling's not catching a ball. We know that. We know Kadarius Toney's probably not catching a ball. And if Richie James beats us, we deserve to lose. So
or like Sky Moore or some like
the only
Noah
way
Gray.
I think we legitimately get like blown out or dominated is if Pacheco is the guy.
Yes.
Because we've had a historically in not late fourth quarter situations, we are really good at stopping Travis Kelce. Other than that, in those late game fourth quarter situations, we have a pretty tough time guarding him. So if we can get to that point where we don't need to
We rely on the
late fourth
matchups,
quarter close game, clinging onto a 2-point lead, if we can rely on not doing that, I think we have a good chance in this game.
I don't know. And like I said to my brother, which I'll say again, I do not want to play a pissed off Josh Allen in the playoffs, especially now in Buffalo for his revenge game. Come on. What better of a storyline for the Buffalo Bills right now than right now?
You can't.
That sounded weird, but I know
No,
you guys knew what I meant.
Yeah, I got exactly what you mean. I mean,
This
can't write it any better right now.
Storybook finish.
if it
It's storybook level.
if it finishes
and
the
they're-
way that we want it to, it's definitely storybook, and it's going to be like such a good run to look back on if we can
happens.
pull it out. But with that being said, this might be arguably the toughest game we have left.
I'm so
Arguably.
excited. I
Could
want-
only get harder from here, though. Who knows?
I'm going to put a little score prediction on this one, actually. I'm going to do it. I got... Hear me out.
Okay.
I got 38-17
No.
Bills taking it.
Wow.
I think this is how pissed off Josh Allen's going to play.
I hope.
And I think that...
I hope.
I do not... I'm not big on this Chiefs offense. I haven't been all year. And
If
I'm
the
going to stick
Bills-
to my gut.
If the Bills win the coin toss and don't defer, I don't know what we're doing.
You got to take
because
the ball.
No, I want them to get the ball to
No, I'm just
start
joking. I'm
because
just joking.
if Mahomes runs out there, we get that third down whistle going right away.
Oh, come on. Come on. You have to defer it. You're going to
The
get a
stadium,
third down.
The stadium might fall apart.
You will
It
get,
might fall apart on Sunday.
you will get a third down on that first drive. That's the thing. I really hope you guys do they lose the coin toss because they're a visiting team.
If you're
And you
a
guys have to win
betting
it.
if you're a betting person, I would put so much money on the Chiefs. I don't even know if you can do this. Like, if you can put a bet on the Chiefs to punt on their first drive, put as much money as you
Yeah.
can on that because I think that's
That's
gonna
going to be crazy.
it's definitely gonna hit.
And
But
I think one of the guys of the game will be Rasul Douglas. I have a
hope
very, very, very special spot for Rasul
Hope so.
Douglas. That's my guy. And you know that's my guy. I still think we got robbed and we got fleeced, but I'm at least glad
alright.
that he's on a winning team.
sorry, he's on.
And I want to see
He
him
was on a
succeed.
winning team.
Well, when we traded him,
Yeah.
we weren't really that.
Hey, win-win trade.
But yeah,
We got one more game to talk about. Bucks at Lions. I mean,
I told Charlie this might be the biggest slept game or the biggest slept on game of the week.
I think so too, and I'm going to be locked in on all these games. But this game's going to be so fun to watch. I think
Especially before your game.
because
at
it's
least you can
two,
watch-
yeah,
Yeah.
because it's two teams that people I
Like,
would say most of the country
Yeah.
enjoys watching. I don't really think you can hate the Lions unless even if you're a Packers
even
fan,
hate
you don't
the
hate the Lions, and I don't really think the Bucks have any real rivals, maybe besides the Saints.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I guess people who just hate Brady that much that won't even root for a team he played on. Maybe?
yeah, I mean, but that's stretching it. So this game's going to be tough, but the crowd in Detroit last week against an arguably better team in LA, and they won by one. I got Detroit again.
I do too. I mean, especially with that crowd. Give them back-to-back weeks. Wow. That place is going to be bumping. I think the Lions are just an overall better team. I think they match up better.
They're both
against
hot
Bucs.
right now,
They
though.
both
I'll
are.
give them both that. But
I'm going to give the Bucks all my respect
Yep.
in the world because they've made something out of a nothing season.
yeah, and we're gonna touch on it next week too when we record after the divisional games. But regardless of how this Bucs season turns out, and actually most of these teams, I mean, you got to be proud of what they all did, especially both of these teams. I mean, one of them is going to get to the NFC Championship.
Yeah, just to think about that.
That's crazy.
But you know what? This is going to be crazy. And I'm not wishing this on either of our teams. I'm wishing this on the Texans, Ravens, or Bucks, Lions. Because I don't think me or you would be able to handle this. We like our hearts, our heads.
Overtime?
I want to see an overtime.
Yeah.
I want to see an overtime so bad in the playoffs. But I don't want it to happen to either of our teams because I know that we would be like
crazy.
Yeah,
like,
we wouldn't be able to.
I don't think I can do another overtime game against the Chiefs.
Exactly.
I really don't think I can.
So that's why I'm not wishing it on Buffalo or Green Bay.
Thank you.
But I am wishing it on one of these other teams because I want to see a playoff. Or I want to see an overtime playoff game. Ever since the new rules came in, we haven't had
it yet. No, and I honestly think if the football gods will serve us
I
right
think the Texans and
after
Ravens
that
might get one.
after that rough week of wild card games that we had to watch, even though we got a few good games in there, probably half of them were good. One was great, but I think we're due for a really good divisional round.
We are due.
I think 3 out of the 4 games are going to be really good. I don't know which one's not going to be good, but there's always one.
There is always one.
There's always one, and hopefully it's not the Packers game, but it's trending like that's the one that might be the one.
Hey, shock the world, baby.
If it is, though,
it was a good season.
Great season.
If it was, but
if it was, hey, you
never
still got
ever, baby.
Hey,
we still got a couple days to prepare.
I keep saying this: every team has 25% chance to win their conference.
Everybody
doesn't matter. Doesn't matter the percentages right now. You all have a 25% chance.
Yep. Everybody's on even.
And next week
field.
it's 50.
Yep. It's crazy.
Next week after that, you got 50% chance to win the whole
Super
thing.
Bowl, yeah. Wow. This is crazy.
It's all a percentage thing.
This is crazy.
You got a 12-point. You're one of 8 teams left.
That's like that just makes me happy. That's like
we're one of 8 teams left. That's crazy. We're 4th of the league left, and we're one of them.
Yeah.
And you're one of them.
Yeah.
Here we go. Here we go.
Well, yeah. Come on.
Here we go.
Come
on. I'm really looking forward to these games.
I'm super excited.
Looking forward to next week too. If you guys have any predictions, comments, thoughts, anything, leave it down below in the comments. We want to hear what you guys have to say. If you guys don't follow us on Instagram yet, it is
at Out of Bounds Podcast with a dot in between every single word.
Yes, there is, Gavin. And we're going to be doing a lot more social media content. Maybe we'll get into another social media outlet soon. I don't know. We'll talk about that.
We're going to get going.
Yeah.
Season 3, welcome.
We'll let you guys know.
Welcome for the ride. Let's ride.
If you guys don't yet, maybe download TikTok. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe get the TikTok app working.
Maybe get the TikTok. Maybe get the finger scrolling a little bit on that For You page. Yeah, maybe you'll be seeing the Out of Bounds podcast on there soon.
Hopefully soon.
Who knows? But for right now, we're going to be signing off here, and we're going to be looking forward to the divisional round.
And season 3.
And season 3 as a whole.
Rise up.
Here we go. Have a day.
Go Pack, go. Go Bills.
Go Bills. Here we go. Thank you guys for listening, and have a great day.
Have a day.